So I am at the clinic. I'm ready to I'm going to go in and get a biopsy here pretty soon. And I guess I wanted to take a little video of um, this moment in the between possible diagnosis of breast cancer and actually finding out if I have it. I found out last Friday that there was a problem because they did a biopsy, not a biopsy, an ultrasound, and mammogram, and they found that there was something suspicious. And I had looked over my shoulder while they were doing it, while they're doing the ultrasound, and she's, like moving the wand over, and then she found this black spot, and then she started taking measurements. I was like, oh, that's not any good at all. And I was like, but it was black. And so I was like, okay, so maybe that's like, oftentimes in ultrasounds, black is empty. Like your bladder, when it's filled with urine, will look black. But also it can also mean dense tissue, I guess, depending on how they switch the ultrasound. So this meant dense tissue. This meant this was not empty. This was not a cyst. And then she turned on the Doppler, and it had some blood flow, for some vascularity at the edge. And I know that also means tumors have blood flow, cysts do not. And or generally, I guess there's probably some flexibility either way. But I was like, oh, okay, so that's what we're dealing with. And I was okay. I am okay with this, because because either way, I know that the Lord has this. I'm not afraid for me, honestly. Truthfully, I'm not afraid for me. Now there's a couple things about it where I'm like, oh, that sounds like that will suck, but I'm not freaking out. It's not okay. So my mother died of breast cancer. So it's always been in the back of my mind. I've been getting mammograms since I was 19, since before my mother had breast cancer. Because they thought they saw something weird, and then once one doctor thinks he sees something weird, no other doctor is really willing to go, yeah, it's fine, so I've been, and I'm 54, so that's a really long time to have the idea that it is possible to have breast cancer, and then especially as I've gotten older, I know that is a possibility. So I'm not concerned. How do I put this? I have been thinking about the well, first of all, boy, there's so many thoughts trying to get to the front of my head. So first of all, the Lord is completely faithful. So regardless of what this is, I'm okay, because if there is no cancer, thank the Lord. If he has allowed that, thank the Lord, because he's got a plan. Like I find a lot of comfort in not believing in coincidences, in believing that the Lord orchestrates our steps. So that means that if he has a period of trial for me, he's going to have a period of reward for me. Like, that's just the way he is, so good. And the rewards will be, I have noticed in my life, they're numerous. So the reward is not only, the cessation of a trial, but the reward can also be the things that I've learned in the trial, the peace that I've gotten in the trial, the times that I've been able to get close to him in trial. As a matter of fact, when Ashton had his brain tumor, that was the easiest hard thing that I've ever done in my life, because the Lord was so faithful and I was so close to him that, honestly, I'm glad that Ashton was, the reward was that the Lord healed Ashton. He had surgery and everything, and it wasn't cancer and all that kind of stuff. But the reward also was to be so close to him, to the Lord, that I kind of missed it. I miss that closeness. I miss that seeing the Lord work so magnificently in our lives. And then during COVID, when I had to stay away from my family, and I had this horrible ear infection, but it was a type of ear infection that could get really bad. It's not just like a regular, it wasn't a middle ear infection. It was like it's a different type of ear infection that can get septic or get to the brain or whatever. But there wasn't anything I could do about it. I had to keep myself protected. So it was just me and the Lord. And I remember being in terrible pain in the middle of the night, and also being so full of joy because the Lord was so present right then. So I'm actually, I mean, there are things that I do not want to go through because I'm human. It's not like, oh yeah, having cancer is just like having a birthday party. No, 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 no. I think the rewards can be greater. Because I mean, what is a birthday party compared to being close to the Lord? I mean, truthfully, like when you have that intimacy with Him that you do not deserve, and that He is just so kind to give you, where He just hangs out with you, even though He is the master of the universe, the creator of all things, and He hangs out with you in the middle of the night because your ear hurts. I mean, what can be better than that? You know what I mean? So there's that. Also, because I've had such a, and also, okay, so there's so many different things. So that's the main thing. Honestly, the main thing is that the Lord has us. So whatever it is what it is. All I'm concerned about is that, well, I'm concerned for my family, and I'm concerned that I handle this well, that I do this well, whatever it is. If it is cancer, that I endure well, and that I example well, and that I give people a safe place to come and ask questions, because cancer has become such a specter. I think cancer, okay, so people die of cancer. Cancer is terrible. Like, it's awful. Like depending on what type you have and how far it progresses. I mean, you can just be in agony for months. Like, I get like that. That is not a thing to be celebrated. But anytime that cancer is, but cancer can also be a one and done. Cancer can just be a snip. Or a few weeks of feeling like garbage, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of your life. But we tend to lump all cancer into this horrible fear-inducing thing, and I think we give it more emotional power than it needs to have. And so what I want is to take the creepy mystique, the hidden sound in the night that freaks us out because we don't know exactly what it is, and shine the light on it and say, it's just a frog. It's just a creaking of a wood board, board in the floor. It's not anything to be freaked out about. Handled and understood, but not be terrified of, because people die of an awful lot of things, not just cancer. And it's so funny because we don't have this same sort of gut reaction fear to heart disease, which is a huge killer. You know what I mean? Like car accidents. How many people die of car accidents, and yet I drove here without hardly thought about having a car accident, And so I'm wondering how many people give, when they're not just as likely, but I mean, we could perish at any moment. How do I put this? We could perish at any moment, and we need to be mindful of that. Memento mori, I think, is very key. But in a way that is not panic inducing, but in a way that makes us consider our days and take into consideration that our life is brief, and that what have we done to prepare? What have we done for our people here with this brief life? And then, well, how have we prepared for what comes after? Because you're only going one of two places. There's only heaven or hell. Those are your two choices. There is no neutral ground. There's no neutral ground on earth, and there's no neutral ground after death. So what I want from this is, if the Lord chooses for me to go through this, then I want to help people have a safe place to ask questions, because I mean, we all have questions, and then also have people have an understanding of how to look this thing in the eye, how to look this monster dead in the eye and not even flinch. And so that's my goal for this, to glorify the Lord in everything and to help people as much as I can. Now, it's entirely possible also that He doesn't have this for me, that I go in there and it's nothing, which on the one hand, I'll be honest, I would be slightly disappointed, because I want to be an example. I want to, because I feel like I can. I feel like the Lord has made me have a atypical mindset, that I want to be able to do that for people. But on the other hand, it would be really nice. I've got plans. I'm supposed to go on a 10-mile ruck on Saturday, and I'm supposed to go to Colorado in July, and we've got a huge event coming up in July as well, and I'm supposed to go to a class in June in Georgia. So I've got things I'd rather be doing than getting surgeries and treatments. But either way, it's good. So this whole week has been, and this whole week has also been such an excellent example, or I can practice, that I loved that I could practice in this week of trust in the unknown, and or trust in the Lord during the unknown is what I should say. Trust in the Lord during the unknown, and having the space. This is, you know what this has? This has also given me space to think through, okay, how am I going to tell people? What am I going to do? What are my plans? So it's not rushing at me all of so these times when normally when there's an unknown and we have to wait for the results, we have a tendency to get wrapped around our axle. But actually, this is the best time to practice being brave, to practice getting our minds to settle our minds and our hearts and our spirits, to walk through those things that we might need to do during this. And I think I used to hate that I would have to wait. I thought it was very cruel, but now I think it's actually pretty, I actually think it's a bit of a blessing, because then we've got time to practice being brave. And so that's kind of where we're at. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and, see if this Schrodinger's event, see what's going to happen when we open the box. Love you.